Everyone in the restaurant turned to look when Ethan walked in, clutching a small bouquet of daisies. He wasn't nervous because of the date, he was nervous because it had been years since anyone looked at him as more than a single dad struggling to make ends meet. A few co-workers had dared him to try online dating, whispering behind his back, "Who'd date a broke mechanic with a kid?" He had laughed it off then, but as he entered the softly lit restaurant, their words echoed louder than the sound of his heartbeat. He spotted the table by the window, where a woman in a deep red dress sat waiting. Her hair shimmered in the candlelight, and the soft confidence in her posture made her look almost untouchable. But then he noticed the wheelchair beside her, and something shifted. Not pity, respect. She looked stunning, radiant, self-assured. She turned toward him with a gentle smile. "Ethan?" "Anna," he asked, his voice betraying a mix of surprise and awe. "Wow, you look incredible." Her lips curved into a graceful smile. "And you look nervous," she teased lightly. He chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Maybe just a little. I haven't done this in a long time." "That makes two of us," she replied warmly. As they began talking, something unexpected happened. Time slowed. The clinking glasses, the hum of other conversations, all faded away. They spoke about everything: childhood memories, music, the little quirks of life. She shared that she had once loved mountain climbing before an accident 3 years ago changed her life forever. "People assumed I'd never work again," she said, her eyes distant. "But I decided to prove them wrong." Ethan nodded, listening intently. "That's amazing. I can't imagine how strong you had to be." Anna smiled faintly. "We're all strong in different ways. You're raising a daughter alone. That's strength, too." He looked down, touched by her words. "Lily's my reason for everything. I just wish she could see her dad as more than a guy who's always tired and worried about bills." Anna's expression softened. "Then maybe she just needs to see her dad happy again." Their laughter blended with the soft jazz music around them. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something real, something healing. But from across the room, a few of his co-workers had recognized him. They snickered and whispered, one even recording a short video on his phone. When Anna noticed, she fell quiet. Her shoulders stiffened, the sparkle in her eyes dimmed slightly. Ethan followed her gaze, saw the men laughing, and his heart burned. He stood up, walked to their table, and said evenly, "If you have something to say, say it to me." The laughter died. "Relax, man. We were just joking," one muttered. "Then find something else to joke about," Ethan said, his tone sharp but steady. "You don't mock someone for being different. Especially not someone who's stronger than you'll ever be." The table went silent. Ethan returned to his seat. Anna looked at him with quiet admiration. "You didn't have to do that," she said softly. "Yes, I did," he replied. "You deserve better than people who don't see your worth." Her eyes glistened. "You're one of the few who actually does." When the night ended, he walked her to her car. "So, will there be a second date?" he asked, half joking but hopeful. She grinned. "Only if you promise to bring your daughter next time. I want to meet the girl who owns your heart." He laughed. "Deal." That night, Ethan drove home feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope of the next morning, everything changed. When Ethan arrived at the auto shop, he could feel the tension in the air. Whispers followed him. His co-workers avoided his eyes. He opened his phone and froze. The video from last night was everywhere. The caption read, "Single dad's blind date with a woman in a wheelchair, everyone's laughing except him." Before he could react, a black luxury car pulled up outside the workshop. Everyone turned to look as the door opened and a familiar figure emerged. It was Anna. But this time, she wasn't just Anna, she was Grace Donovan, the CEO of Donovan Motors, one of the company's largest clients. She moved with effortless confidence, her tailored suit perfectly cut, her assistant following closely behind. The room went still. "Good morning," she greeted the stunned workers. Her voice was calm, commanding. "I'm here to finalize a new partnership with your firm. Mr. Reed," her gaze landed on Ethan, eyes twinkling, "will be the lead mechanic for the upcoming restoration project." Everyone stared at Ethan in shock. The same men who laughed now couldn't meet her eyes. Later, as they stood outside, Ethan finally asked, "You're the CEO? Why didn't you tell me?" She smiled, the corners of her lips curving gently. "I wanted to meet someone who saw me, not my title or my chair." He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "Guess I passed the test?" "You did more than that," she said softly. "You reminded me what kindness feels like." From that day forward, they worked side by side. Ethan's daughter, Lily, grew close to Anna, often calling her Miss Sunshine for her warmth and laughter. They became inseparable, a small family built on courage, love, and second chances, but life wasn't easy. The media discovered their story, turning their relationship into gossip. Some accused Ethan of chasing money, others mocked Anna for dating below her league. The noise grew unbearable. One evening, Ethan found her sitting by the window of her penthouse, staring out at the city lights. "Maybe we should stop," he said quietly. "I don't want to be the reason they hurt you." Anna looked up at him, her eyes fierce. "Do you know what hurts more than the words of strangers? Losing someone who saw me for who I am." He knelt beside her, emotion thick in his throat. "I'm not afraid of what people say. I just want you happy." She took his hand. "Then stay. Because you're the only one who ever made me feel free again." Months later, at a grand company gala, Anna took the stage in a dazzling silver gown. The hall fell silent as she began to speak. "People once laughed at a single dad's blind date," she said. "They thought strength was measured by wealth, power, or appearance. But real strength," she turned toward Ethan, standing proudly among the crowd, "is standing by someone who believes in you when no one else does." The audience rose in applause. Ethan's eyes met hers across the room, filled with pride and love. When the lights dimmed and the world around them faded, he walked to her side, leaned close, and whispered, "Told you daisies were lucky." She smiled up at him, her eyes shining brighter than any light in the hall. "No, Ethan. You were." And in that moment, the laughter that once mocked them became applause that celebrated them. A single dad and a paralyzed CEO who proved that love doesn't need perfection, only two hearts brave enough to believe in each other.